resolution passed by the 6th Assembly, which mandated the Nigerian Navy to relocate within 15 months. Is engineering the ports in Delta State is the only solution to the current congestion of Lagos Port, where demurrage as high as $10,000 are being paid daily per vessel waiting to berth, thereby increasing the cost of imported goods and raw materials for industries. Resolve: mandate the Committee on Ports and Harbour to investigate and to revive the Sapele Port to make it functional. I beg to move.
Honorable Luke Onyefor will now second the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Onyefor Luke, 1893 Bomsrubi of Federal Constituency. I'm from Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I support this motion on the need, I second this motion on the need to restore Sapele Inland Port and relocate the Nigerian Navy College from Sapele Seaport as moved by Honorable Ebero Pefe Anthony.
Okay, this is an infrastructure motion, so I'll put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The 11th order of the day is a motion calling on the federal government to make Aluminium Smelter Company of Nigeria functional, standing in the name of Honorable Luke Onyefor Akpan. Honorable Luke is invited to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Onyefor Akpan Luke, 1893 Bomsrubi Federal Constituency. Except Mr. Speaker wants to give me a baptismal name, I would totally agree as your lawyer subject, sir. A motion on the call for the federal government to make Aluminium Smelter Company of Nigeria operational, Mr. Speaker. The House notes that the Aluminium Smelter Company of Nigeria, ASCON, before its privatization, had the federal government of Nigeria, Forrestal of Germany, and Reynolds Incorporated of America as major shareholders on an equity holding of 70%, 20%, and 10% respectively. Also notes that ASCON, located in Ikot Abasi, local government area of Akwa Ibom State, was an aluminium producing plant that serviced Nigerian market with aluminium products and provided jobs for thousands of Nigerians. Further note that the objectives of establishing the company were to utilize and enhance the country's gas reserve and to discourage gas flaring in the Niger Delta, and to establish a self-reliant aluminum factory, provide employment for Nigerians, impact technical stroke develop trained technical manpower, conserve and earn foreign exchange by meeting local aluminum demands, and to aid the development of aluminum downstream industries. Aware that between 1997 and 1999, when ASCON was operational, the company provided employment for about 1,820 permanent workers and over 4,000 casual workers. And the number of people employed was expected to increase with the expansion of the production capacity of the company. Also aware that the company stopped operation on 6th June 1999 due to irreconcilable differences between some shareholders, coupled with other associated problems of lack of working capital, insufficient gas supply, and non-dredging of Imo River, among others. Further aware that those problems necessitated the Bureau of Public Enterprises BPE to privatize the company in 2004 for smooth operation and efficient service delivery. Cognizant that by privatizing ASCON, it was expected that there would be improved management of assets of the company, job retention, job creation, technological advancement, empowerment of local communities, improved tax revenues, and execution of corporate social responsibility projects for the communities. Worried that since the privatization of Ascom, there has not been any significant improvement in the operations of the company, which is not producing any aluminum at the moment. Also worried that the former staff of Ascom and their families are facing hardship due to federal government's failure to pay the retrenched staff their terminal benefit of over 2.3 billion naira, having only paid 4 million naira to them. Concerned that the assets of the company are deteriorating as they are not being put into use, serviced, or maintained, and with the level of unemployment in the country, Ascom would have provided thousands of job opportunities for the teeming population. The House resolves to 1. Urge the federal government to ensure the resumption of operations by the Aluminium Smelter Company of Nigeria, Ascom, and to pay all the former staff of the company the remaining terminal benefit of about 2.3 billion naira. And 2. Invite the Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, to brief the Committee on Steel Development on the current state of Aluminium Smelter Company of Nigeria, Ascom. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Thank you. Honorable Jafar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Sadaki of Yauri. I'm Jafar Mohammed by name, member representing Barguagwara Federal Constituency. I'm from Niger State. Mr. Speaker, I simply rise to second motion, happily move my friend, my colleague. Thank you, sir. I also second.
Okay, I believe this is an infrastructure motion. There's an amendment? Okay, Honorable Bata, you have an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Uzoman Bonta. Mr. Speaker, permit me to do the following amendment as submitted to you. Before the amendment, 1 minute contribution from me. Mr. Speaker, the Ascom project is one very necessary for us. The DPE did carry their exercise and actually sold the company. It became a subject matter of litigation. It ended in Supreme Court. And Supreme Court had since given directives and their ruling and their order. So my amendment follows as soon that Supreme Court judgment in respect of outcome MAC deal should be given effect immediately. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That will cure the essence of the whole motion if you obey the Supreme Court order. I do not know why the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land, will give judgment many months ago and nobody will seem to hit to it. Mr. Speaker, I'll tell an interesting story. It's this amendment. Our dear Vice President, SAN, was a lawyer that argued the matter in Supreme Court. And he got judgment. And he became the chairman of NCP and BP. And he's sitting down on that judgment. So I don't know whether he's floating hot and cold. He was a private lawyer who argued the matter, got judgment for his client, and now he's in his court to obey court orders. And I don't know, so we need to know what the simple thing to do is that they should obey court order forthwith. Thank you.
Was that your amendment? Okay. Okay, Honorable Abonta. Honorable Abiante, sorry.
Thank you, distinguished Speaker, my colleagues. I rise to second the amendment as moved by
my brother Abonta, who is well informed. In fact, the judgments and the issues about ASCON has to do with one of my constituents, Dr. Ruben Jaja. Thank you very much.
Those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Okay, we have, which is not going to be a practice, let me just say that now, but the Deputy Chief Whip was sent to represent me somewhere at the treaties public hearing. So she's back now. Her motion had been stepped down earlier. Chairman Business and Rules, can you move that we rescind the earlier decision so to allow her to take her motion?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Abubakar Saflata. I represent Bernewa, Krika, Samaguri, Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House will rescind its earlier decision on item number 6 on the order paper to enable the mover of the motion to take up the motion once again. I so move.
Honorable Benny La, can you please second?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Benny La. I represent Lantern North and South. May I second this very important motion as moved by my colleague, Honorable Nkiru. Thank you.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Nkiru, I can move your motion. DS, please.
I'll wait for the change of party.
Change of guard. Change of guard.
I'm back. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Nkiru George. I represent the good people of Isukwatu Mulu Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for allowing me to move this motion, but that's the price of loyalty, because I obeyed your command to go and represent you, so I wouldn't have left at that time. So this is a motion on the need to reinforce the security personnel to safeguard road users from incessant robbery and kidnapping at Ohukabi, Ndai, EGV, Aziz of Apsu, Ahaba Road, and the Ugwogwe, Aziz of Utura Fibo Road in the Isukwatu local government area of Abia State. The House notes that the primary purpose of government is to provide for the security and welfare of the citizens. The House further notes that despite the efforts of government, insecurity has been on the rise in many parts of the country. The House is informed that in Ohukabi, Ndijv, Axis of Apsu Ahaba Road, and Ugwogwe, Axis of Uturu Afibo Road in the Isukwatu local government area, the situation is almost out of control, as armed robbery and kidnapping have become the order of the day in the last few weeks. The House is also informed that no fewer than 10 cases of kidnapping and armed robbery attacks occur on that axis weekly, putting the life and property of indigents, residents, and even travelers in danger, thus making them to live in perpetual fear. The House is worried that if nothing is done to bring the situation under control, it will continue to worsen, thereby becoming ticking time bomb as criminal elements hold square along those routes, causing law-abiding Nigerians to be called in apprehension. The House is cognizant of the need for the Nigerian police force and other security agencies to contend the tide and wave of those criminal elements in their reign of terror in those areas. The House resolved to urge the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Abubakar Mohammed Adamu, as a matter of urgency, to deploy more policemen to man those areas with the view of preventing the incidences of kidnapping and armed robbery in those areas and also bring the criminals to justice. The House also mandates the Committee on Police Affairs to ensure implementation. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Yes, Honorable Benny.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Benny La, I represent Lantern North and South. I stand to second this very important infrastructural motion as moved by my honorable colleague. Okay, straightforward motion.
1 minute, then we'll put the question.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, thank you for this opportunity to say one or two things about this particular incident. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, it's very sad that as we speak, the days of OCC Campo is fast returning to Abia State. And particularly on this axis of Absu Umwani Road down to Ahaba and Akara Junction. In the last 1 month, on daily basis, they will kidnap people in the morning, police will come and chase them, they will come back after the police have left, they come back in the afternoon, and in the night again. It's like they are sharing themselves or they are doing shift. So, and one thing that is very, very sad also is that that particular road is a place that erosion has destroyed over this period. On this floor of the house, I have moved motions on erosion on that particular place. So the road now is cut off. And indigenes try to have access through the forest. You drive like 1 kilometer inside the forest before you come out to the main road again. And so what these hoodlums and what they call, sometimes they say it's herdsmen, sometimes they say it's armed robbers, all kind of things. But the point is that they will go to that forest on daily basis to start harvesting people. And most times, even they are caught by the citizens, that's for indigenes of that place. They've been caught several times. 2 days, they will just give a break. After, they will come back. So on daily basis, if I want to go to my local government, my constituency headquarters, which is in Isukwato, I have to go to Umahia and then come back to Isukwato because that road is not passable. And even when you try to go to the inside the bush, you will also meet criminals. And I have tried to raise these issues on the floor of the house. We've even called the Ecological Fund Office. They've gone there, they have done their survey, it is in their data bank. But even if it's awarded, there's no contractor that will go there to do anything meaningful because the place is a dead zone. So my prayer this afternoon is to alert the house on the pending danger, even if when you want to do that erosion, if no security presence is in that place, no contractor will take over that site. So, Mr. Speaker, it is sad, even around that vicinity, everybody say, oh, the OCC Campo, everybody knows the story surrounding the OCC Campo saga at a time, a few years ago. That is what is coming back to my constituency now. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm pleading passionately to this house to make sure that something is done, not just passing this motion, but go a step further to ensure that the security and life and property of the people of my constituency is safe. Because even if you say, okay, go and do the road, people are not going to do the road because they will be kidnapped. I can't even pass there, even with security and all that. I have to go to another state. And let me also say this. My local government is a local government that is surrounded by 4 states. So it's very critical. From my house, I have boundary with Anambra. If you come out again, you have with Imo, you have with Ebonyi, and then you have with Ebonyi. So it's a local government that is critical, that if it's happening in Anambra, it's affecting me. If it's happening in Ebonyi, it's affecting me. If it's happening in Imo, it's affecting me. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I want you to have a passionate look on this particular item on our agenda this afternoon to make sure that this issue is resolved. I so submit.
Thank you. Respected colleagues, I want to believe it's a very short motion, and so I therefore put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. That have it. Motion referred to the relevant committees of the House. Respected colleagues, the 12th order of the day is a motion calling on the armed forces to hold incessant attack on Abuam, Agadama, Ohoro, and other communities in Uheru Kingdom of Ugeli, North Local Government Area, Delta State, standing in the name of Francis. Francis invited to move the motion.
Agadama, Ohoro, and other communities in Uheru Kingdom of Ugeli North Local Government Area of Delta State. The House notes that there has been series of attacks by herdsmen on Avo, Agadama, Ohoro, and other communities in Ugeli North Local Government Area of Delta State, which form part of my constituency. Also notes that on Friday, the 14th of February 2020, approximately 20 people were killed by herdsmen aided by persons in army uniform. As at yesterday, over 10 corpses have been recovered from the farms, with search still ongoing. Concerned that despite these killings by the herdsmen over the last few years, not a single prosecution of these culprits to serve as a deterrent has been recorded. Informed that apart from the numerous lives lost as a result of the incessant attacks by the herdsmen, they have continued to destroy farmlands, scare and make away with valuable goods, and on other occasions rape married women and young girls of the community, as well as killing husbands and youths who intervene. The House notes further that as a result of the continuous attack by herdsmen, farmers in the various communities have refused to go to their farms for fear of being attacked by the herdsmen who visit the farms on a daily basis, and the people of the community are living in fear and starvation as they are afraid and are unable to go to the farm. Observes that despite the effect on food security and inherent adverse economic effect on the people, the activities of these herdsmen, if not properly checked, could result to self-help by the local communities, which should not be encouraged. Further notes that the nefarious activities of these herdsmen have continued unabated for about 3 years now, with devastating consequences as it progresses. And despite the routine activities of security agencies to tackle the menace, there is an urgent need for a more proactive and sustainable approach to solving the problem by all stakeholders. Aware that Section 14, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, provides that the welfare and security of the people shall be the primary responsibility of government, the House resolves to 1. Urge the Army, Nigeria Police Force, Department of State Security, Nigeria Security and Defense Corps, to, as a matter of urgency, call a meeting of stakeholders in Ugeli North Local Government Area and leaders of the herdsmen to find a solution to this recurring security problem, and the House Committee on Army ensure compliance and report to the House within 3 weeks. 2. Urge the leaders of the herdsmen to immediately relocate from the farmlands of Uweru clan, and indeed from our entire constituency, as the herdsmen are still there at the moment, with the army forming a barricade between the farmers and the herdsmen. 3. Urge the National Emergency Management Agency and other regulatory authorities, as a matter of urgency, to provide relief materials to the victims of the herdsmen attack, who are now in starvation, and the House Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness ensuring compliance within 2 weeks. That the House Committee on Emergency and Emergency Preparedness pay a fact-finding and condolence visit to the affected communities and report back to the House within the next 3 weeks. Finally, mandate the committees on Army and Police to investigate and fish out the personnel allegedly to have accompanied the killers to perpetuate the heinous crime, and report to the House within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Let's all colleagues seconder. to the motion. Yes, Zamfara.
Mr. Speaker, Shehu Ahmed El Fulani is my name. Member representing Maru Bungudu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Zamfara State. I rise up to call the motion moved by my respected colleague. I so call.
Honorable Wambi, leave the debate maybe in 2 minutes, then we'll put the question.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Because today on Quest FM in Warri, this matter was discussed and I was lambasted. All the callers abused me as much as they could, and for 2 weeks this has happened. I've not mentioned it on this floor. Thank you for the privilege. The names of those who were killed in this attack is in the public domain. The newspapers, the news media has been replete with the stories of what has been happening. It has been there for over 3 years, every year 1 or 2 persons, but the one of this year is the worst. And my people worry that if it can get to this extent this year, then next year, and usually it's about this time that it occurs, next year it could be worse. And that's why there is this call that government should intervene and stop this thing. There's a need for the military to investigate this matter themselves, because as we speak, 2 military men are in Bomodi Hospital out from this same attack. And then there are all of our children from Agadama community that are in Ugeleje Hospital, Delta State Teaching Hospital in Ogara. This is apart from those who are already dead. I believe that this thing can stop and government can do something, and I ask that my colleagues support so that the prayers I've made here will be honored and my people will have a sense of belonging to the Nigerian nation, and those who have lost loved ones will have a sense of consolation, and those who are currently starving. Mr. Speaker, I visited the community late last week, and it was a ghost town. We had to go from door to door, knocking on doors, trying to get those who were hiding. And of course, when they see police with me or see my colleague who went with me, they don't recognize, they hide and run again. It took over 1 hour to be able to gather people, to talk to and encourage and tell them to maintain peace and that government will intervene. Now the motion has come before this floor of this house, and I ask the support of my colleagues to allow the motion fly, such that my prayers will be granted and my people will have a sense of consolation. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Colleagues, I beg to put the question because it's a very straightforward motion. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion referred to 11 committees of the House. Respected colleagues, the 13th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to establish the Fisheries Research Institute of Nigeria, Ungo Adoni, for fishery research, education, and cooperative training in Nigeria and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Thursday, 21st November 2019. Honorable Abiante will move for the consideration.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my distinguished colleagues. Awaji Nombek Dagomie Abiante, arise to move that a bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Brackish Water Fisheries Research, Ngo Andoni, for fishery research, education, and cooperative training in Nigeria and for related matters be given consideration in the Committee of the Whole. I so move.
Yes, Seconder, Honorable Jega. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm Mohamed Umar Jega, representing Alarogondu Jega Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion, ably moved by my honorable colleagues. I so second. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. That's subject. Respected colleagues, the 14th order of the day is constitution of bill for an act to establish the Federal Polytechnic Cocoa Delta State to provide for equity, and access to tertiary education in the country, make comprehensive provision for the due management and administration and for related matters. Honourable members will call that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on 21st November 2019. Honourable Thomas will move for his consideration.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, my name is Chief Thomas Eri Tomi. I represent the people of Warri South, Warri North, and Warri Southwest. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move for the bill for the creation and act for the establishment of Polytechnic in Cocoa in Warri North in Delta State. This bill is before this House and before the Committee of Whole. I rise that this Committee of Whole should consider this bill in favor of Cocoa and the people of Warri North. I so move.
Leader will second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the spirit of Delta, I remain Honorable to the Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion that at the Committee of Whole, we do please consider this bill. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 15th order of the day is consideration of bill for an act to provide for establishment of Ademi Federal University of Education, Ondo, for the promotion and development of teacher education in Nigeria and for related matters. Honourable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Thursday, 21st November 2019. All Makinde Abiola will move for his consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Abiola Peter Makinde, representing the good people of Ondo, East, West, Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ondo State. I move that the House Committee of the Whole do consider the report of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Adeyemi Federal University of Education, Ondo, for the promotion and development of teacher education in Nigeria and for related matters, HB 426. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Seconder. Architect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm Architect Ibrahim Al-Mustafa, new member representing Runo Rabah Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Sokoto State. I like to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Makinde for your Committee of the Whole to consider the report. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The House is thereby resolved into Committee of the Whole to consider reports. Thank you. Respected colleagues, the first bill to be considered is for an act to establish Fisheries Research Institute of Nigeria, Ngwandoni, for fisheries research, education, and cooperative training in Nigeria and for related matters. I invite Honorable Abiante to give the synopsis of the bill.
Thank you very much, my chairman and distinguished colleagues. This bill was passed in the 8th Assembly, but was not assented to. The bill has 23 clauses, a schedule, and an explanatory memorandum. What does this bill seek to achieve? And why was the assent denied? The reason for not assenting to it was lack of knowledge, adequate knowledge. The reason was that we have a fisheries institute in Bama, and we have one other one at New Busa. Yes, admittedly, these are just restricted to the issues of fresh water. And in the marine industry, marine environment, we have 3 categories essentially of water. 3 categories of water bodies. The fresh water, the sea water, which is around the ocean, and the brackish water environment. The brackish water environment is host to over 32,000 species of fishes. The brackish water environment alone. Even from the mouth of the Escravos River to Calabar River, you have exotic species that all of us here crave for. You must have eaten red snapper, shinose, or at least crayfish or sardine. And you and I know that you cannot find sardine in the waters of Bama. They are not cultured. You won't have them even in the Research Institute in New Busa. You won't have red snapper in those areas. Weight for weight. Weight for weight. We all eat this catfish, clarius. We all eat this black catfish. Weight for weight. Sardine has greater economic value than the clarius that we all have been looking out for. And Nigeria is at the verge. We are contemplating placing a ban on the import of fish. And presently, we spend close to $1 billion importing fish. And most of the things that are around the fish imports are issues of sardine, shrimps, and all of that, the croakers. And these are abundant in the brackish water environment. If this bill is passed and assent granted, it is not just to pass it again, but to convince those who have not gotten adequate knowledge of what we are talking about, assent granted. It will not only boost the economy of this country, because imagine where we begin to conserve $1 billion to start with. We are not importing. If we are able to grow to the point where we can export, like Morocco, the North African country where we get most of the sardines, they export close to 500,000 metric tons of sardine alone per annum. Imagine the level of foreign exchange that we will be getting from that alone. We're also talking about the issues of insecurity, especially within the coastal environment. Having been dislocated from the basic economy that we have, this would galvanize interest further in advancing the issues of fisheries and artisanal fishing. It will create an alternative economy for those whose livelihood has been dislocated. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Clause 2. Clause 3. Clause 3. Clause 4. Clause 4. I have issue there. Yes, sir. 4.3a. Chairman, knowledgeable in fisheries or related discipline. Must it be that? Another disclaimer that we shouldn't. It shouldn't be like that as possible for me. Chairman is chairman. Thank you. He doesn't need to have that. You can bring somebody with political will, and other things that will make value, not necessarily knowledgeable in that area. Yes, sir. So, who's moving for the amendment? Yes. Media.
Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I'm Lawan Shatima Ali, representing Bursari Gaidami Bursari Federal Constituency. I'm from Yobe State. I stand to move for the amendment of Section 3A to read as chairman only, sir. I so move.
Chairman, honorable members, the name is Kwamoti Beatrice Lowry. I second the amendment to 3A. I so second.
Under down to E and then F, the Director are not normally the secretary of boards. It is either the registrar of the institute who shall be, because he keeps record. This one is accounting officer, and he makes him secretary of board. There could be a lot of confusion. So somebody should move for the amendment. Do you have a registrar? Sorry, do you have a registrar in the institute? Registrar should be the secretary. Is the secretary. Thank you. Not Dr. General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In amending clause 4(3)(e), that we import knowledgeable in fishery or related discipline and implant it into the Director General of Institute shall have knowledge in fishery and related discipline. Then in F,
agriculture